Evan stepped off the shuttle onto the smooth, glowing surface of the alien city. The air shimmered slightly, filled with faint, humming lights that pulsed above every walkway. He had expected something strange, but nothing in his training prepared him for this. Towering crystal towers reflected multiple colors, and hovering vehicles floated silently across the sky. The ground beneath his boots was warm and soft, like walking on polished sand. Evan adjusted his uniform and looked around. The city seemed alive, but not in the way humans were used to. It moved with rhythm and purpose, as if every object, every light, and even the air itself had a role. He was here for a cultural exchange program, tasked with assisting the alien scientists in improving their energy systems. It was supposed to be a routine assignment. He hadn't expected the assignment of a partner. A small voice squeaked behind him. Human. Evan spun around. A tiny figure stood before him, barely half his height. She had sparkling violet eyes that seemed to dance with mischief, and her hair shimmered silver in the glowing light. Her skin was pale green, smooth like polished jade, and her smile was impossibly wide. She wore a simple tunic of flowing fabric that seemed to shift color slightly as she moved. "You're Evan, right?" she said cheerfully, bouncing on her toes. "I'm Lyra, and you've been assigned a lover." Evan froze. His mind tried to process what she had just said. Assigned. A lover? His voice came out uneven, almost shaking. "Yes," Lyra clapped her hands together. "It's my job to be your companion while you're on our planet." "Isn't that exciting?" Evan rubbed his forehead, trying to focus. I thought I was here for a science exchange. I wasn't expecting this." Lyra tilted her head. "Oh, humans are funny. You think you come here for work, but really bonding is the first step. The elders say every visitor must have a partner. That's the tradition." He blinked. Tradition? Partner? Lover? All these words spun together in his head. He didn't know whether to be shocked, confused, or amused. "Lover, as in romantic?" he asked cautiously. Lyra nodded eagerly. "Yes. Romantic, friendly, loyal, companion, all of it. My job is to guide you, support you, and make sure you're happy. And maybe enjoy your company forever." Evan stared at her, speechless. A tiny, smiling alien girl was declaring herself his assigned companion. It sounded ridiculous, and yet there was something in her eyes, a seriousness mixed with joy that made him pause. She wasn't joking. I don't think humans do this kind of assigned pairing," Evan said slowly. Lyra waved her hand dismissively. "Humans will learn. And don't worry. I'm very patient. I have all the training. I know how to make humans comfortable." Evan's mouth opened, then closed. "I think I need a moment to understand this." "Of course," Lyra said brightly. "But first, let me show you your living quarters." She turned, beckoning him to follow. Her steps were quick, almost bouncing, and Evan had to jog to keep up. The building she led him to was unlike anything on Earth. It hovered slightly above the ground, anchored by shimmering beams of light. When the doors opened, they slid smoothly without sound, revealing a room filled with soft glowing walls, furniture that adapted to the body's shape, and windows that displayed a panoramic view of the city below. "You'll be comfortable here," Lyra said, spinning around in excitement. "I've already adjusted the temperature, lighting, and even the aroma to suit human preferences. You'll find it very cozy." Evan walked inside cautiously. The room was indeed comfortable, more advanced than anything he'd seen before. He sat on a chair, testing its softness. I have to admit, this is impressive." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Of course it is. I told you I'm very good at this. Now let's go over the rules of bond pairing." She pulled a small tablet from her belt and tapped it. A holographic screen appeared, showing animated symbols and diagrams. "You must stay close to me at all times. You may leave for work or training, but we return together. We eat together, we rest together, and we bond together," Lyra said with a playful wink. Evan's eyebrows shot up. "Bond together?" "Yes, bonding strengthens our connection. Humans can take it slowly, but I will help you. You'll see. You might even like it." Evan hesitated, then decided to focus on one thing at a time. "Okay, so what do I actually do here during the day?" Lyra clapped her hands again. "Oh, that's easy. You help with the energy systems. You fix machines. You understand human technology, and in return I'll teach you our ways. But more importantly, I'll make sure you feel at home. That is my most important duty." As Evan tried to absorb the information, Lyra ran to the window and pointed at the city below. "Look, isn't it amazing? The floating gardens, the hover streets, the glowing energy towers. This is my home, and now it's yours too. At least for the time you're bonded with me. Evan sighed. This was going to be more complicated than he imagined. Yet despite his initial discomfort, he couldn't help noticing how alive and vibrant everything seemed. The city, the air, even Lyra herself. There was a warmth here, a rhythm that Earth cities lacked. Over the next hour, Lyra guided him through the city. She introduced him to floating gardens filled with plants that hummed softly when touched, to hovering markets where alien vendors displayed shimmering fruits and objects that seemed to defy gravity. Everywhere they went, she insisted on holding his hand, or at least staying very close. Evan felt awkward at first, but he also noticed that the citizens looked at him differently. Some whispered, some smiled, but all seemed to acknowledge his presence as important. "Why are they looking at me like that?" Evan asked. Lyra tilted her head. "Because they know. A human is rare here, and a bonded pair even rarer. People respect the bond. They'll watch, but they'll not interfere, except maybe to offer advice or gifts. You'll see." As they walked, Evan realized that Lyra's energy was infectious. Despite the strangeness of the situation, he found himself laughing at her jokes, smiling at her excitement, and admiring the confidence she carried as if she owned the world. She was small, but her presence was enormous. Eventually, they arrived at a large hall where the elders of her city were waiting. They were tall, regal beings with elongated limbs, and their eyes shimmered like the surface of a calm lake. Lyra bowed deeply to them, and then she gestured for Evan to do the same. He hesitated, but complied. The elders observed him quietly, their expressions unreadable. One elder stepped forward, her voice calm but commanding. "Evan, human of Earth, you have arrived in our city, and by tradition you have been bonded with Lyra. This pairing is recognized by all. You are now partners for the duration of your stay." Evan swallowed. The ceremony was real. This wasn't a joke. "Partners, as in, lifelong?" The elder's gaze was firm. "For as long as your bond remains. The bond may grow beyond its initial purpose. That is the choice you will make." Lyra squeezed his hand and whispered, "See? Nothing to worry about. You're mine now." Evan felt a mixture of fear, embarrassment, and something else, curiosity. This small alien, so full of life, had already woven herself into his world. He didn't fully understand her species, their customs, or what this bond truly meant, but for the first time in months he felt a strange sense of anticipation. The day ended with Evan in his quarters. Lyra perched on the edge of his bed like a tiny guardian, explaining every detail of the city's culture, customs, and rituals. He listened, exhausted but fascinated, slowly realizing that his adventure had begun, not in the lab, not in the classrooms, but with this small, smiling alien who had declared herself his partner. And as he drifted off to sleep, Evan could hear Lyra humming softly, a melody that seemed to carry the rhythm of the city itself, a rhythm that he was beginning to feel a part of whether he wanted to or not. He didn't know what the coming days would bring, but one thing was certain: life on this planet would never be ordinary. The morning light filtered through the glowing windows of Evan's quarters. The soft hum of the city below felt like a heartbeat, steady and calming. Evan sat up stretching and found Lyra already perched on a chair beside the window, her violet eyes sparkling with excitement. "Good morning, human," she chirped. "Are you ready for your first full day in our city?" Evan rubbed his eyes. "I think so, though I still feel like I'm dreaming." Lyra laughed. "You're not. And today you'll see more of our world. I'll show you the heart of our city, the Energy Spire District. That's where most of the machines you'll help with are located. It's impressive." Evan stood and followed her. As they walked through the city streets, he began to notice more subtle details. The hovering pathways seemed to react to movement, subtly adjusting to foot traffic. Strange, translucent creatures floated beside them, some offering light, some delivering small packages, all moving with perfect coordination. The air itself seemed alive, carrying faint musical tones that blended with the city's hum. "Do all humans live like this?" Lyra asked suddenly, breaking his thoughts. Evan chuckled. "Not even close. Earth is less organized. No floating streets, no humming air, no creatures that deliver things by themselves." Lyra tilted her head. "Then you will enjoy this. Humans need to learn efficiency and grace. I can teach you both." Evan raised an eyebrow. Grace, I think I'll start with efficiency first. Lyra giggled and nudged him playfully. We'll see. You might surprise yourself. When they arrived at the Energy Spire district, Evan's jaw dropped. Towering structures of crystal and metal stretched into the sky, pulsing with energy. Streams of light flowed between them, carrying data and power like rivers of glowing water. Small drones zipped along the paths, repairing and adjusting equipment, while humanoid aliens in flowing robes moved calmly among the machines. Lyra led Evan to a central platform. This is where you'll start. The energy nodes here need recalibration. The human's understanding of electricity is different but complementary. You'll see. You can help, and I'll explain the alien methods. Evan approached a complex-looking console. The interface displayed patterns of light and symbols he didn't understand at first glance. He frowned, studying the flow of energy. Lyra hovered beside him, pointing at certain nodes with a glowing finger. Focus on the patterns, she advised. Our energy flows differently from Earth. Here, harmony is key. If the nodes are out of sync, the whole district suffers. Evan nodded. Slowly, he adjusted one node, then another. The lights shifted, glowing brighter and more balanced. Lyra clapped softly. See? You already have human intuition. It's impressive. He smiled, a small spark of pride in his chest. Thanks, though I'm just trying to follow your instructions. Lyra leaned closer, her eyes shining. It's more than instructions. You think logically, but humans also feel patterns. That is why you are compatible with me. Evan blinked. Compatible? You mean the bond? She nodded, smiling mischievously. Of course. The bond isn't just tradition. It's understanding, trust, respect, and maybe enjoyment. You'll see. Despite his nervousness, Evan felt a warmth at her words. He still wasn't sure about the full meaning of their bond, but he couldn't deny that he felt drawn to her energy, her enthusiasm, and her unwavering confidence. By midday, Evan had adjusted several nodes, and Lyra insisted on showing him the city's marketplaces. Floating stalls displayed fruits and objects that shimmered and moved as if alive. Vendors called out in melodic tones, offering tastes, colors, and textures that were completely new to him. Lyra skipped ahead, picking up a small glowing fruit. Try this, human. It's called a lunari. Sweet, but it tingles your senses. Perfect for focus. Evan hesitated but took a small bite. The flavor was unlike anything on Earth. Sweet, citrusy, with a soft glow that seemed to pulse in his mouth. He blinked. Wow. That's incredible. Lyra grinned. I told you. Everything here is new. And it's best experienced together. Sharing is part of bonding. As they walked, Evan noticed other aliens observing them. Some whispered, some smiled, some even nodded in respect. Lyra noticed too and leaned closer. They're noticing because we're bonded. It's unusual, a human and a native paired officially. Most think humans are weaker, but they see now that humans can learn, adapt, and even protect. That is why they watch. Evan felt a mixture of pride and anxiety. Being watched like this was strange, but he couldn't help but feel a small thrill. It was as if the city itself had recognized him, acknowledged him as part of something larger. By the time they returned to the Energy Spire, the sky had turned a soft shade of pink, the floating lights of the city beginning to shine like stars. Lyra tugged him gently. Now, human, I will show you the final part of your first day, the bonding walk. Evan frowned. Bonding walk? Lyra's eyes sparkled. Yes, it's a tradition. Every bonded pair takes a walk at sunset. You observe the city, share your thoughts, and connect. Nothing scary, just connecting. He hesitated, but the warmth in her gaze and the infectious excitement in her tone made him nod. Okay, let's do it. They walked along the floating pathways, the city glowing below them. Lyra pointed out various landmarks, explaining their history, their function, and their role in the city's harmony. Evan listened, fascinated, gradually relaxing. At one point, Lyra paused beside a small fountain. Water didn't fall. It floated in midair, forming perfect spheres that glowed softly. She reached out, letting the spheres hover above her palm. Humans think water flows only one way. Here, water follows energy. It adapts, it listens. Like us, Evan watched her, captivated. You really love your world, don't you? Lyra nodded, smiling shyly. I do. And now I want you to love it too. Or at least respect it. And maybe me. Evan felt his face heat slightly. He looked away, focusing on the floating spheres. He couldn't deny he was impressed by her knowledge, her joy, and her fearless confidence. She wasn't just cute, she was strong, clever, and deeply committed to her world and to him, whether he accepted it fully or not. As the sun finally dipped below the horizon, the city lit up in a cascade of colors. The floating pathways glowed, the buildings reflected soft blues and purples, and the hum of energy filled the air like music. Lyra took his hand gently. "Do you feel it, human? The connection? That is the bond. Not just tradition, not just rules, but understanding. You and I together, noticing the world, protecting it, learning from it. That is the bond." Evan looked at her, then at the city, and finally down at their joined hands. A strange calm filled him, a sense that despite how different everything was, he was exactly where he needed to be. "Think I understand," he said quietly. "Maybe it's not just about rules. Maybe it's about trust and companionship." Lyra's smile widened, her eyes glowing softly. "Exactly. And tomorrow, we start the real adventures. Machines, challenges, maybe even danger. But together." Evan couldn't help but smile, feeling a small thrill. Life here was strange, unfamiliar, and overwhelming. But with Lyra by his side, guiding him, challenging him, and sharing every moment, it also felt exciting, alive, and meaningful. For the first time since arriving, Evan didn't dread the days ahead. He looked at Lyra and felt a quiet certainty growing inside him. This small alien, with her wide smile and boundless energy, wasn't just a guide or an assigned companion. She was a challenge, a friend, and maybe even a partner in a way he hadn't expected, but was slowly learning to embrace. And as the city's lights shimmered around them, Evan realized that his journey had only just begun. The bond, strange as it was, had already begun to shape him, teaching him to see the world differently and perhaps to see himself differently as well. The next morning, Evan woke to the soft hum of the city, the glowing walls of his quarters reflecting faint colors across the room. Lyra was already wide awake, bouncing lightly on her heels beside the window. "Good morning, human," she chirped. "Today is special. Today you'll see what humans can do that even the most advanced machines struggle with." Evan rubbed his eyes, still waking up. "What do you mean?" Lyra's violet eyes sparkled. "There's a problem in the Energy Spire district. One of the main nodes has gone unstable. The machines can't fix it. Only someone with human intuition, someone who can think outside of patterns, can help." "That's you." Evan blinked. "Me, really?" Lyra nodded, bouncing in place. "Yes, don't worry. I'll be with you every step of the way. Humans have surprises waiting in them. I'll show you how we handle it, and you handle it your way." Evan took a deep breath. He was starting to realize that on this planet, he wasn't just a visitor. He had a role, one that could matter to the entire city. He felt both nervous and excited. When they arrived at the Energy Spire district, the difference was immediately clear. The hum of the energy flow had become chaotic. Streams of light flickered, some nodes pulsing erratically while others dimmed and faded. Small drones zoomed back and forth, trying to stabilize the network, but their attempts were futile. Lyra tugged Evan gently to the nearest console. "See? The human's problem-solving is needed here. Watch and think, and then try what your instincts tell you." Evan studied the console carefully. The energy streams were connected in a complex web, and the disruption seemed to originate from a central core. He noticed patterns in the chaos, slight irregularities in the flow that no machine could predict. Slowly, he began to adjust the nodes manually, recalibrating the energy pathways while Lyra guided him. "You're good," she said softly. "Very good. Humans can see connections we can't. That is why I'm proud to be bonded with you." Evan's heart skipped a beat at her words, but he kept his focus. Step by step, node by node, the energy stabilized. Lights that had flickered now glowed steadily. The humming returned to a smooth rhythm. He felt a quiet satisfaction as the network began to balance. "See? I told you," Lyra exclaimed, clapping her hands. "Human intuition saves the day." Just as Evan smiled, a sudden alarm blared through the district. Red lights flashed and the hum of the city changed, becoming sharper, more urgent. A group of rogue energy drones had malfunctioned, breaking free of control. They moved unpredictably, threatening to damage the surrounding nodes. Lyra grabbed his hand. "We need to act. Follow me." Evan didn't hesitate. He ran beside her, dodging the drones as they zipped past. Lyra pointed at a panel. "Use that! You can redirect the energy to trap them temporarily." Evan concentrated, carefully adjusting the energy flow. Sparks flew and a drone collided with a containment field, immobilized. One by one, he redirected the streams, using both his technical skill and intuition. Lyra stayed close, pointing out the most dangerous drones, warning him when to move and helping him avoid collisions. Despite the danger, Evan felt alive. The adrenaline, the challenge, the need to rely on both his mind and his instincts. It was unlike anything he had experienced. And Lyra was always there, small but fearless, guiding him with confidence that lifted his own. Finally, the last rogue drone was neutralized. The city's hum returned to normal, and the energy streams glowed steadily once again. Evan sank to his knees, breathing heavily. "You did it!" Lyra exclaimed, jumping into his arms and hugging him tightly. "You really did it, human!" Evan chuckled weakly. "We did it. Together." Lyra pulled back slightly, her eyes shining. "Exactly, together. That is the bond. Not just helping each other, but protecting each other. And yes, even feeling proud of each other." Evan's chest warmed at her words. He had spent so long thinking humans were weak compared to alien technology. But here he was, saving the city in partnership with Lyra. He realized she had been right. The bond wasn't just tradition. It was trust, reliance, and connection. Later, when the chaos settled, the citizens of the city began to gather. They had observed Evan's actions from above, and whispers of admiration spread through the crowd. The elders stepped forward, their expressions serious but approving. "You have proven, human, that your species has courage, skill, and intuition worthy of respect," one elder said. "Your bond with Lyra has been strengthened by this trial. It is recognized by all." Lyra's eyes sparkled with pride. "See, I knew humans were amazing. I told you. And now everyone knows too." Evan smiled shyly, feeling a sense of accomplishment. I couldn't have done it without you." Lyra grinned. "Of course not. But that's what makes bonding special. We help each other, we protect each other, and sometimes we surprise even ourselves." As evening approached, the city's colors shifted again, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. Lyra led Evan to a quiet rooftop garden overlooking the spires. Floating flowers glowed softly around them, and small streams of energy flowed like tiny rivers. "Do you see, human?" she asked, gesturing at the view. "This is what we fight for. This is what we protect, and this moment right here is for us. Together." Evan looked at her, at the city, at the way the lights reflected in her eyes. He realized he no longer felt like an outsider. He belonged here, at least in this moment, not because of duty, but because of choice. Lyra stepped closer, her small hand brushing against his. "I know this might be strange for you. Humans aren't used to bonds like ours, but I hope you understand that I chose you, not just by tradition, but because I believe humans are capable of great things, and because I care about you." Evan felt his heart race. Her words weren't loud or dramatic, but they carried a sincerity that he couldn't ignore. He wanted to speak, to respond, but for a moment all he could do was look into her violet eyes. I care about you too, Lyra," he said finally, his voice low but steady. "I didn't understand it at first, but now I do. You've shown me courage, trust, and a world I never knew existed, and I want to be part of it, part of you." Lyra's eyes widened with joy. She reached up and touched his cheek gently. "You really mean that, human?" Evan nodded. "I do. I might not understand everything yet, but I know I want this bond. With you." A soft laugh escaped her lips, filled with relief and happiness. "I knew it. I knew humans could surprise me. And now nothing can stop us. Together we are stronger than anyone imagined." They stood quietly, watching the city glow beneath them. The danger had passed, but the excitement, the connection, and the thrill of discovery remained. Evan realized that the bond wasn't just about surviving or completing tasks. It was about understanding each other, supporting one another, and learning to trust across worlds and species. For the first time, he truly understood what Lyra had meant by the bond. It wasn't just a duty or a tradition. It was a living connection, growing stronger with every shared challenge, every laugh, and every quiet moment like this. As the stars appeared above the floating spires, Lyra leaned against him, her small hand still holding his. "Tomorrow, human, we face more challenges, machines, mysteries, maybe even danger. But whatever happens, we face it together." Evan smiled, feeling a deep sense of certainty. "Together," he agreed. And for the first time since stepping onto this alien world, he wasn't afraid of what the future might bring. because with Lyra by his side, he knew that no challenge was too great, no danger too threatening, and no unknown too terrifying. Together, they had survived the day. Together, they would face the days ahead. And together, they were beginning to understand the true power of the bond. The next morning, the city shimmered in soft golden light, the energy of the spires pulsing in gentle harmony. Evan woke with a sense of calm he hadn't felt before. The previous day's challenges had taught him a lot about this world and about himself. Lyra was already waiting by the window, her violet eyes bright with excitement. "Good morning, human," she said. "Today is very important. Today, everyone will officially recognize our bond." Evan blinked. "Recognize it? Officially?" Lyra nodded, bouncing slightly. "Yes. There will be a ceremony in the central hall. All the elders, citizens, and leaders will be there. It's a celebration of partnership and trust. You have done amazing things, helped stabilize the city, faced danger, and shown that humans are capable of great courage. Today you'll be honored and our bond will be acknowledged by all." Evan felt a mixture of nervousness and pride. He had never imagined that his first days on an alien planet would lead to such attention, but he knew he trusted Lyra completely. If anyone could guide him through this, it was her. When they arrived at the central hall, Evan was struck by its grandeur. The building was massive, with walls of transparent crystal and glowing energy, flowing through intricate patterns along the floors and ceiling. Citizens of all shapes and sizes had gathered, filling the hall with murmurs of curiosity and excitement. Hovering lights illuminated the space, casting shimmering reflections across every surface. Lyra led him to the center of the hall, her small hand holding his confidently. "Stay close," she whispered. "Everything will be fine." An elder approached, tall and regal, her eyes glowing faintly. She raised a hand and the crowd fell silent. "We are gathered here to honor courage, trust, and partnership. Evan, human of Earth, you have faced challenges with skill and bravery, showing qualities that our species deeply respect. And Lyra, your commitment and guidance have strengthened this bond. Together you exemplify harmony between species." Evan felt his heart pound. He had expected a simple ceremony, maybe a polite acknowledgement, but this felt like something far more significant. The elders were treating him as an equal, and the citizens were watching him with respect and admiration. Lyra stepped closer, her small hand brushing against his. "We're a team," she said softly, barely audible over the quiet hum of the crowd. The elder continued, gesturing for Evan to perform the bonding ritual. A glowing pattern appeared on the floor, a series of lines and symbols that pulsed with energy. To seal the bond officially, both partners must place their hands on the pattern and declare their acceptance of each other. This is a tradition that honors trust and choice, not just assignment. Evan swallowed, feeling nervous. He looked at Lyra, who smiled at him encouragingly. Her eyes radiated trust and warmth. "You can do this, human," she said. "I already know your heart. Now everyone will see it too." Taking a deep breath, Evan stepped forward. He placed his hand over the glowing symbols, feeling a soft vibration travel up his arm. The energy felt alive, almost as if it was reaching out and testing him. Lyra placed her hand on top of his, her skin warm and soft. "I accept this bond," Evan said clearly, his voice steady. "Not because it was assigned, but because I choose it. I choose you, Lyra." Lyra's smile widened and her voice rang out brightly. "And I accept you, human. I choose you. I choose our bond, our partnership, and our future together." The symbols beneath their hands glowed brighter, energy flowing through the hall and into the crowd. Citizens gasped softly as the light spread, washing over everyone in gentle warmth. It wasn't just a ceremony. It felt like the city itself was acknowledging them, recognizing their connection, their courage, and their trust in one another. The elder stepped forward again. "The bond is official. Evan and Lyra, your partnership is recognized by all. May it grow strong, bringing harmony, understanding, and unity between your worlds." The crowd erupted in applause, cheers echoing through the hall. Some citizens floated forward to offer gifts, flowers, and glowing tokens of respect. Others simply nodded, their expressions filled with admiration. Evan felt a surge of pride and humility. He had never experienced anything like this. Lyra leaned closer to him. "See, you're amazing. Everyone respects you, and now everyone knows what I already knew. You're remarkable." Evan chuckled softly, feeling warmth in his chest. "I couldn't have done this without you. You guided me, trusted me, and even believed in me when I doubted myself." Lyra's eyes shone with joy. That's what bonding is. We lift each other, protect each other, and grow together. You'll see, there are many adventures ahead, and we will face them as a team. After the ceremony, the crowd slowly dispersed, leaving Evan and Lyra on the central balcony overlooking the city. The floating lights of the spires glowed softly, reflecting in the streams of energy that flowed between the towers. The city seemed alive, vibrant, and full of promise. Evan took a deep breath, feeling a sense of calm he hadn't known before. "I never imagined my first days here would be like this," he said quietly. Lyra smiled, resting her head lightly against his shoulder. "Neither did I, but this is the beginning. Together we can face anything. Machines, mysteries, challenges, or even dangers, and we'll do it as a team." Evan glanced at her, his heart swelling. He realized that the bond was more than tradition, more than ceremony. It was trust, friendship, understanding, and shared courage. He wasn't just assigned a partner, he had found a companion, someone who would challenge him, support him, and grow alongside him. I'm glad it's you," he said softly. Lyra looked up at him, her eyes shining with warmth. "And I'm glad it's you, human, now. Let's see what adventures await us next." Together they turned to look at the glowing city, the floating spires, and the energy streams that pulsed like veins through the heart of the alien world. A sense of excitement, anticipation, and connection filled them both. They had faced danger, proven courage, and discovered trust, and now, officially bonded, there was nothing they couldn't face together. The city, the citizens, and the elders had acknowledged their partnership, but more importantly, they had acknowledged each other. And in that acknowledgement, Evan felt a profound truth. It wasn't the assignment that mattered, it was the choice. The choice to trust, to protect, to grow, and to bond. As night fell, the floating lights of the city reflected in their eyes. Lyra squeezed his hand gently. "Tomorrow will bring new challenges, human, but with our bond we can face them all." Evan nodded, feeling stronger than he had ever felt before. "Together," he said, echoing the word that had grown in meaning over the past days. Lyra smiled. "Yes, together." And with that, they watched the city glow beneath the night sky, a world full of possibilities, challenges, and discoveries waiting for them. The bond they shared was no longer a matter of assignment or duty. It was a connection built on courage, trust, and choice. A connection that would guide them through every adventure, every trial, and every moment that lay ahead. Evan knew that life on this alien world would never be ordinary. But now, with Lyra by his side, he also knew that it could be extraordinary. Together, they had proven that humans, even from distant worlds, could face the unknown, rise to challenges, and earn the respect of the most advanced civilizations. And together they would continue to grow, learn, and discover, not just the world around them, but the depth of the bond that connected them across species, planets, and hearts. The city glowed beneath them, the energy pulsing softly, and for the first time Evan felt completely at home. Not in the city, not on the planet, but with Lyra, with their bond, with the future they would face together.